This brand created one of the most unique products I've ever seen, and after going on Shark Tank and rejecting funding, went on to scale to well over 7 figures, with email and SMS being one of their primary factors that got them there. This is Bite, and if you haven't heard of them, they're a sustainable oral care brand that create these unique little toothpaste bits that you chew on and brush your teeth with. They also have one of the most dialed in e-commerce email funnels that I've seen going into 2026, and in this video I'm going to break down the whole thing. From how they grow their list, to the automations in place to convert them, and then the ongoing conversation they have with them through their campaigns. So hopefully by the end of this video, you'll have picked up some new strategies that you can implement for your brand or your clients moving into 2026 in the age of AI. So let's get straight into the document. So this is Bite Toothpaste Bits. Like I said, they sell these unique little toothpaste bits, as you can see here, that I haven't really seen before. They're a really unique product. Along with this, they also sell general oral care and body care products like deodorants and toothpaste sets. After studying their funnel and their website and everything like that, I was able to pick up on 3 key differentiators that allowed them to use email and SMS to really scale a lot more than most other brands. Those 3 factors being the product innovation, the lifestyle elevation of their product, and the frictionless subscription program that they run. So starting off with the product innovation, what does this actually mean? What I mean by this is that their particular product, like I said earlier, is extremely unique, and this alone gives them an amazing format to build up a brand and be unique and stand out, especially in this space. Another thing they do to stand out is use their product as a vehicle for a lifestyle elevation. So they're not selling toothpaste, they're selling premium daily ritual, which feeds into the subscription element. They frame themselves as science-backed, planet positive, made with clean ingredients, and a routine upgrade. This appeals perfectly to the conscious consumer and people that would actually appeal to these sort of self-care products that are also conscious of the planet. So the final point that makes them stand out is their frictionless subscription program. So their first purchase provides a 4-month supply of toothpaste bits with a subsequent refill every 4 months in compostable packaging. So obviously this is a great subscription program, and once people are on this, it's very unlikely that they're going to cancel. This creates perfect alignment of business incentives with brand values, because obviously they're a sustainable brand, so by sending the refills in compostable packaging, it really feeds into that sustainable practice and makes the customers feel guilty for not subscribing. So in my opinion, this is why their funnel works so well, because they have the perfect foundation. But now that they've got attention, they've got a good brand, how do they actually capture those eyeballs and convert them? All they have to do is convert these people into loyal subscribers of both their products and their email system. So I'm going to go over how they do that. So what do people do once they get over to their website? So this is Bite's pop-up form strategy. So it's a pretty basic strategy that you would have seen many other times. However, they've done it to a perfect level and it works really well. So as you can see, they're just running a simple 10% off offer for their welcome offer with an upgrade of an extra 5% to make it 15% for people who subscribe to SMS. So a lot of people will advise against using 10% off pop-up forms for your welcome offer. However, I think when done right, it can convert really well. And also it captures high intent people because, I mean, if you're not really looking to purchase from this brand, 10% off isn't going to be enough to get your email, right? But if you're high intent, if you're really thinking about purchasing, 10% is actually a good offer because who doesn't want a free 10% off? So as you can see with their pop-up form, there's literally 3 words on it. They've made it as simple as possible with their logo, the offer, and then the input fields. This is what we like to see for pop-up forms. They need to be as simple as possible and people need to get the gist straight away. As you can see for the second stage with the SMS, they've done the exact same thing but upgraded it to 15%. And they've also gone ahead and added in the verification step because they don't want fake phone numbers coming in. Obviously, SMS is quite an expensive marketing channel. So by doing this, they can root out all the bad numbers and all the fake numbers that people input to bypass this step. However, people that don't want to submit to SMS still get their 10% off. And yeah, this is pretty textbook pop-up form strategy. Obviously, nothing crazy, no crazy questionnaire forms, no crazy spin to win wheels, anything like that. They're just nailing the basics with the 10% off and making a perfect pop-up form that will convert at around 5, 6, maybe even 10%. So now they've got these people's email addresses, what are they going to do now? Well, what they can do is, now that they're in the email ecosystem, is send emails to them on a frequent basis through their campaigns and their automations and eventually convert them for basically pennies. Of these automations, the first one is the welcome flow, obviously, and it's the highest leverage one, which will see some of the highest KPIs out of all their flows. And I'm just going to run over the design and the layout of it so you can hopefully recreate this for your brand. So starting off with the flow map, they're sending 6 emails on a pretty frequent basis. As you can see, the first email is being sent instantly after the person has subscribed to the pop-up form. In this first email, all we're trying to do is deliver the discount, nothing else, give a brief introduction to the brand and what they do. But yeah, the main point of this email is to, 1, confirm that they're actually on the email list with them, and then also give them their discount. And then the next day, they're going to send this product promotion. So this is sort of an email focused on their products. This is normally what I would send for my clients, of some sort of product promotion email as the second email in the welcome series. However, as you can see here, they've taken a bit of a spin on it, and instead of just talking about the products, they've gone ahead and chosen a review for each different product that they sell. So obviously this is just a basic bestsellers product promotion. But as you can see, for each product, instead of just talking about it and waffling, they've gone ahead and provided a real review from a customer who likes that particular product. And then at the end, they're just going ahead and giving a bit of an infographic with a reminder of the discount. This is a perfect email too for a product promotion, and it's a bit of a nice unique spin on a pretty played out email where people are just always talking about what makes their products good. By letting the customers actually do the talking for them, they can cut out the need for any salesy copy or anything like that, and they can just let the customers sell to the other customers. Then they're going to wait an extra 2 days rather than the 1 day, and then they're going to send an email from the founder that goes over sort of why the brand was started and everything like that. This is a perfect email for the welcome series. All they're doing here is giving an introduction to the founder and the brand itself, giving a really personal touch that allows people to buy into the mission and see why the brand was started. This builds a lot of rapport between the brand and the customer and makes it not seem like some sort of conglomerate and just an actual person-to-person brand. Then they're going to wait another day and send another personalized email. This time it's going to be from the team, and it's going to be a strictly text-based email. So as you can see, this is just going over and reiterating the welcome code from one of the team members. This email, like the last one, is just trying to build that rapport with the customer, making sure that it doesn't feel like some big brand that's just going to send promotional emails, and really building that relationship with the customer to the brand. Then they're waiting quite a long time between email 4 and 5. They're waiting 3.5 days to send this next email, and again they're focusing on reviews and bestsellers. As you can see here, this is more of a review focused email by mentioning 21,000 plus 5-star reviews, giving 4 examples, and then moving down into a product section here. So this email is perfect because we're reiterating the discount code at the top, we're giving some reviews relevant to different products, and then we're offering those exact products at the bottom. So the reason they wait an extra 3.5 days, because you have to remember that people in this welcome flow are also receiving campaigns. So a lot of people will receive the first few emails in back-to-back succession, and then they'll be funneled into the campaign ecosystem, which I'm going to go ahead and talk about later in the video. The final email is sticking to the same theme of waiting a bit longer. We've got an extra 3 days until the last email, and the last email is literally just a straight up reminder. No products, no salesy copy, nothing, just offering the discount code for one last time. This email is perfect for just creating a sense of urgency with people and making sure that they know this is their last chance and delivering the code really easily. So there you have the welcome series strategy. I just wanted to go over a few things to do with their design. As you can see, their design is very design heavy rather than copy heavy. We've obviously got these 2 text-based emails in here, but they're doing 2 different things. In terms of our design emails, we're mainly focused on infographics and making it skimmable as possible. Like if we take this email, for example, you can see straight away 21,000 reviews. You can skim through these reviews and then you're straight to the products. They're not using large blocks of text unnecessarily. And as you can see, especially in this last email, really straightforward, using minimal copy and infographics where possible. As you can see here, using a nice infographic to display why Byte is better than other alternative products. So yeah, that's the welcome email strategy. Obviously, this is going to be converting a lot of people coming in, especially with their 10 to 15% discount, depending on how they opted in. So yeah, this is a perfect strategy from design to layout to copy to the use of reviews and the use of product sections. Just while we're on the topic, I thought I'd mention if you want me and my team to completely redesign your welcome flow, similar to how Byte's done here, obviously completely custom made to you. We're currently doing that for free for certain brands. So you can go to my website, see if you qualify. If you do, go ahead, shoot me an email or book in a call, and we'll go ahead and get your welcome flow done and dusted for you within a week. So yeah, just thought I'd mention that. If you are interested in the welcome series, go ahead, first link in the description, and you can claim that for your brand. But yeah, let's get back into the document. So although a lot of people will be converting off this welcome flow, it's obviously not the only flow they have set up. They also have their abandonment flow strategy set up with the site abandon, browser abandon, cart abandon, and checkout abandon flows at least. I'm going to go ahead and run through the strategies that I think they probably are using with some examples as well. So starting off with their browser abandon flow, pretty straightforward stuff here. Probably around 4 emails for this flow, maybe less. 4 is probably the maximum. As you can see, they're waiting 1 to 2 hours after someone has browsed a product to actually send this email. And basically all they're trying to do with this browse and site abandon flows is just show people what they were browsing and then go ahead and get them back over to the website as simply as possible. Something to mention as well for all of these abandonment flows is that they will be splitting the flows based on purchasers and non-purchasers. Everyone who's triggering these flows but has never purchased a product from them will be receiving the welcome flow once again. As you can see here, I've never bought a product from Byte, but when I browse their products, I received this email, and as you can see, they're offering the welcome discount once again. This is a great thing to do to continue to incentivize people to make that first purchase, because once you've got that first purchase, it's a lot easier to convert them into subscribers and long-lasting customers than it is to just create new customers every single time with your welcome flow. Moving on to the cart and checkout abandon flow, very similar principles here, but just slightly more complex and with a bit more strategy involved and some longer design. So as you can see with this example from their cart and checkout abandon flow, this reads more like a welcome flow email. As you can see, they've got their discount code at the very top. call to action is just explore the products. But as you scroll down, we go through some more reviews, and then finally, with a little PS section at the bottom, we mention what's in the cart. The reason they do this is because anyone making it to the bottom of the email are pretty high intent, especially if they've read through some of these reviews. They'll be pretty primed to buy, or at least browse. And once they see that they've abandoned a product, they're a lot more likely to go ahead and restart that journey and go back to their cart and go ahead and purchase the product potentially. As you can see with the flow layout, same principles apply with offering that discount code to non-purchasers, and they might be going down and splitting based on which product they abandoned, probably splitting it based on oral products and body care products, just creating a nice little split there to make sure that they can target people based on what they actually abandoned. And then finally, probably finishing off with some sort of text-based email like we saw in the welcome flow, but this time for the cart and checkout abandon flow, just reinstating that welcome offer where necessary and making sure that people know that their cart is going to be expiring and that they can go ahead and restart their order if they like. So that's the overall abandonment strategy. As you can see, pretty straightforward, but what do they do once someone actually makes a purchase? So here we have the post-purchase set of flows. The main flows here are going to be the post-purchase flow and the replenishment flows. Like I said earlier in the video, their brand is heavily reliant on subscriptions, and that's where they'll see a lot of their profit. So this is where the strategy gets slightly complicated with their subscription strategy, I should imagine. As you can see with the post-purchase flow, they're going to be thanking the customer for their purchase, probably splitting based on number of purchases to give more tailored messaging. After this, they're going to give some sort of how to use email, going over the common use cases of the product, making sure that people actually know how to use it. They're going to send a few more emails, like FAQs, getting excited, just trying to get people primed to receive their product. However, once they've received the product, this is where it shifts. Now, people who have subscribed to their product are going to receive barely any emails. This is because they don't want to give too many touch points. They don't want to annoy people who've already subscribed. You have to think of it like this. Once a customer has subscribed to their product, their marketing is basically done. That's where they want every customer to go. They want every customer to subscribe and not cancel. That's the goal, right? So once someone's subscribed, they don't want to keep blasting them with messages and giving more touch points and annoying them, because you got to imagine if you're subscribed to a product, maybe you enjoy using it, maybe you're sort of on the fence about it. If you keep getting reminded that you're subscribed, you're much more likely to open up the email, go over to the website and cancel the subscription. However, if you're not receiving as many emails, if you're receiving maybe 1 or 2 a month, which we're going to talk about in the campaign strategy, then you're much less likely to cancel because there's less touch points and you're just going to go about your life using the product. However, for those people that haven't subscribed, they're going to receive a lot more emails, trying to incentivize that subscription, maybe giving some limited discounts to purchasers but non-subscribers. And yeah, really trying to convert people who've already purchased to get them to subscribe. Obviously, it's a lot easier to turn someone who's a purchaser into a subscriber than someone who's not even familiar with your brand into a subscriber. So they're going to spend a lot of time really focusing on those purchasers who haven't subscribed and trying to push them over the edge. Then for the rest of the emails, pretty simple stuff. They're going to be sending a replenishment reminder. This is sort of similar to what I was just saying. This will be for people who have purchased but not subscribed. So this will send around 4 weeks after someone has purchased, obviously only for non-subscribers because they'll be receiving their products automatically. However, in this replenishment reminder, they'll be reminding people who have purchased but not subscribed 4 weeks later so they can go ahead and order again. And these emails, all of these replenishment emails will be heavy on the subscriptions once again. All of these post-purchase emails are to get non-subscribers to become subscribers. As you can see as well, we've got our win-back flows, our VIP customer flows, and our send-up flows. These are sort of just bonus flows. The win-back flow is very similar to the replenishment flow, but on a much longer time horizon. So that will be slightly different there. And then obviously we've got our VIP customer flow and our sunset flow, just some premium benefits and relationship building, and also just for some list cleaning with their sunset flow. So that is the overall flow strategy that they're using. As you can see, very focused on getting people to, one, convert on their welcome offer by sending it in the abandonment flows too, and also focusing on getting people subscribed once they have purchased and leaving the subscribers alone that have subscribed. So that all leads us into the campaign strategy. So we know how they get subscribers, we know how they're converting them automatically, but what does the ongoing dialogue look like with purchasers and non-purchasers alike? So as you can see, their campaign strategy sort of sits on 3 pillars here, 3 different styles of campaigns that they're sending, focused with different goals in mind. So the first pillar is education. This is around 25% of their emails. If you go ahead and look through all the emails I've received, which I'm going to show you momentarily, about 25% of these are education focused, just trying to give facts and information about the products. Pillar 2 on promotions. This category is sort of split up into 3 subcategories, if you like. I'm going to go over and talk about those in a moment, but yeah, they make up about 50%. And the final pillar is where they send their sales and their offers. So think Black Friday, New Year offers, things like that. These make up about another 25% of their emails. Basically, the strategy with the offers is they don't do sales very often, but when they do, you know about it, and they send a lot of emails. So with the education, they use educational emails to give people a break from the selling and to overcome objections. So obviously, if customers are constantly just being sold to in the emails, they're going to get fed up, they're going to get annoyed, they're going to unsubscribe. So this is sort of a break and just gives an interesting angle to the emails. This is obviously crucial for not tiring out your list. In these emails, there's huge opportunity to be creative and use interesting angles, which they do perfectly. And obviously this is where they're using facts and statistics to support their products and their brand. So here's some educational emails that I received from Byte. So as you can see, a lot of these educational emails are focused on particular like compounds and things like that, things that people don't really know a lot about, but they can give a deep dive into these topics. So as you can see here, we're focusing on sodium lauryl sulfate. Not sure what that means. I'm not a toothpaste expert. But as you can see, they're basically using this angle to convert people over to one of their products that doesn't have this this chemical in, right? So as you can see, they're giving some stats and statistics about what it does and why it's bad for you, and then the opposing way why their version without it is good, right? So something you'll notice with these educational emails is while they're focused on stats and statistics, they're also going to weave in social proof and things like that to make it a more holistic email and making sure that people can, one, see the facts, and then two, be convinced to buy. So as you can see here, they're differentiating between their two products by going into how each of the different chemicals in the products actually works. As you can see, going into why it's different, this is a strictly educational email. There's no reviews, there's no incentive to purchase, they're just educating on what's different about them, and then if people like one over the other, they can go ahead and make a purchase. So I really like these emails. I think they do a perfect job of breaking up the monotony of sales emails and also giving some actual useful information to people coming in to their campaign system. Moving over to the second pillar where we have our promotions. So like I said, this is around 50% of their emails. And I've gone ahead and split this into 3 different subsections. Obviously, it's all arbitrary and they can mix and match as much as they like. So as you can see, I've split this category into 3 different subcategories. We've gone with a single product, a single benefit, and a single angle category. So the single product section is where they're just focusing on one product per email. So this is typically used for their supporting products like their deodorant and stuff, because this is a supporting product. So when they do an email about it, they want to go all in on that and just make it once in a few weeks cadence with that. Their single benefit emails is where they pick a benefit of their products and go all in on that. And the single angle is just picking a general fun angle and just making a whole email about that. So as you can see with the single product, this is where they're doing a lot of their selling of their deodorant, just full emails about deodorant, no mention of the other products, just focusing on the deodorant here. The single benefit is where we're focusing on a particular benefit of the brand and making a whole email about it. So as you can see, this first email is about not having yellow teeth, that's a benefit. The second email is about how the brand doesn't use plastic, or minimal plastic, I should say. The third email that I've chosen is all about the routine element to it. So this is focused on subscriptions. Like I said earlier, they're going to want to get as many people to subscribe as possible. So by having this email focused on the routine and the subscription, this is a perfect email to get people to go from non-subscribers or non-purchasers into subscribers, because obviously they're tying it to the lifestyle, right? If you read this email, you can imagine yourself waking up and using the product every single day. And how are you going to do that? You're going to subscribe and just get a frequent amount of this product coming in and just make it a part of your daily ritual, right? And then this last example is all about how they run their business in an eco-friendly way. So this again is just building that brand and focusing on that one benefit of the brand. And then finally, the single angle emails is where they're just focusing on a fun, unique angle and just sticking with it throughout the whole email. So as you can see with this first one, we've got our red flags email. They're just going over the red flags of their competitors and the green flags of their products. Pretty simple, but it works well. Look, they've got 3 different examples. Here Here again, they're going over the sort of ritual example like I mentioned a moment ago. This is getting people to subscribe as much as possible. And as you can see, they're showing the subscription refills here and going over how you can actually turn this into a ritual and how consistency makes it as effective as possible. Obviously, this is how they're going to get a lot of subscribers coming in, because they're really focused on pushing that lifestyle element of their subscription program. And then finally, this is a sort of travel angle talking about how they're TSA approved, sorry. And yeah, so just another fun angle that they can use with some images here as well, showing people using them while they're traveling. So that covers the promotion style of their emails. Like I said, a very large portion of them, and split into different sections where they're really focused on just making as many sales in a unique way as possible. And then their final pillar of their email campaign strategy are their sales and offers. So like I mentioned earlier, they don't do many sales, they don't do them very often, but when they do, they send a lot of emails about it. So for example, here we have the strategy that they ran for New Year's. So they actually ran a New Year, New Me sort of promotion here, and they actually ran this promotion for the whole month. So as you can see here, they sent their first message, New Year's resolutions kit, at the end of 2025. And the last email I received about this offer, I received on January 31st. And I received all these emails in between about this promotion. Even the emails that aren't specifically about the promotion have a mention of it. So this just means that for a whole month, they were promoting this New Year, New Me sale. And so far in the year, it's now the 13th of March. I haven't received another promotional email from them. So that just proves that they don't do many sales. However, when they do a sale, they really go hard on it and they get as many conversions on that as possible. As you can see with these emails, really straightforward. They're just making sure that the offer is as clear as possible. With this first email, they've got it in the hero section. And then in every single email, they're just mentioning at some point. Here they're mentioning at the bottom. Here they've added a timer for urgency. And here they've also mentioned how they're down to the last few. Just filtering this offer into all their campaigns, regardless of if that's the focus or not. So that's the sort of general campaign strategy that they use, the 3 pillars of the emails that they use. Something they do a lot is they actually resend their campaigns to people. So in my inbox, I've received a lot of campaigns from them twice. And why they do this is because if I didn't open the first one after a few days, they'll go ahead and resend it with a different subject line just to try and get people to open that email. So as you can see, they did a campaign from the angle of coffees and how coffees stain your teeth and everything like that, and how they can combat that with their ritual and their routine. And they went ahead and sent it to me twice with a different subject line because I never opened the first one. This is a really good strategy and a simple strategy that you can implement. Just go ahead and create a segment saying hasn't opened email in X days, or you can actually choose the specific email that you want to segment the next campaign off of. So you could say hasn't opened for the love of lattes email, and then you could send the next email to that, if that makes sense. So that's a really good way to just capture more people and make sure people are seeing your emails if you send them to them twice if they haven't opened. Another thing to mention as well is the frequency of emails that they're sending. As you can see, they send a lot of emails. They send around 3 to 5 campaigns a week. And with these double sends that I just mentioned, it could be up to seven times a week, right? They could be sending an email every day based on these resends of stuff. So as you can see, very frequent with their emails here. Another thing to mention as well is the messaging they send to their subscribers and their people who have purchased. So obviously, like I mentioned earlier with the flows, people who have already subscribed will receive not even half as much as these emails. Like I said, people who have subscribed, that's the goal, right? They want everyone to subscribe. They want to get people to subscribe to their product subscription. So people who have already done that aren't going to be receiving messages reminding them that they're subscribed, creating a high subscribe rate with their subscribers. Likewise, people who have already subscribed are going to receive a lot less educational emails and receive a lot more emails trying to get them to subscribe, subscription promotions, ones like we looked at earlier, where we're focusing on the ritual and the lifestyle element of the brand. So yeah, that covers everything for the campaign strategy and therefore for the overarching strategy of Byte. So I hope you got some value from this whole thing. Obviously, you can see the approach that they're using, the way that they're collecting subscribers, how they're automatically converting some of them, and how their dialogue looks with people who have both purchased and not purchased through their campaigns. I appreciate you taking time to watch this video. If you do want access to this document so you can use it in future, I'll put it in the first link of the description, just over on Figma. You can go ahead and view this whenever you like. If you want to learn the exact process that we use to create the welcome flows that I mentioned earlier, so you can claim your own free welcome flow, I'll go ahead and put that video on screen now, and I'll see you over there. Cheers, guys.